All right, guys, it's Faded Frost 117 here. I am at the Podcast Awards. I am currently looking for Calm Always 121. For anybody that doesn't know, hey, found him. Calm, hey, Calm. Can I get you for a second, man? Calm.
Yeah, I'm here, man. What's going on?
Hey, sorry to bother you, man. I know you're busy, got things going on. Can I interview you for a second, man?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so rumor has it that the Faded Ghost gaming community is taking over YouTube. Do you mind elaborating for the people that are listening?
Yeah, so we've been doing the podcast now for a while. We're about 15 episodes in or so, and we're on all the major podcasting places, the Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. And now we're bringing it to YouTube. Our very first episode is on YouTube, and we hope everyone loves it, likes it, shares it, subscribes it, does all of that good stuff. And we just want a bigger audience for what we have going on.
That sounds amazing. And yeah, I know I was being rude. While you were talking, I had pulled my phone out and did those very things, liked it, shared it, subscribed it.
Yeah. Man.
So, anything else that you would like the community to know, or anything that you would like to say?
Yeah. So we also have a Discord that people will be able to join and enjoy game talk. Obviously, and we love talking about games at this in this podcast, man. So we hope everyone, our gamer or otherwise, enjoys listening to it. We've got anime, some movies that we talk about as well. So like I said, like it, love it, share it, subscribe it.
Already there, man. All right, back to you.
Welcome to the Faded Ghost Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, keeping it calm, cool, and collected. Calm Always 121. Here with me today is your co-host, the man who once wrestled a polar bear with nothing but his eyes. Faded Frost 117. How you doing today, Frost?
I can't complain, man. Every day's a good day when we're talking about some games.
That's how it is, man. That's the way it should be.
You're right.
But I want to get into talking about games, of course, because that's what we do.
Oh yeah.
But I want to talk about a bunch of different topics today. But I want to get this. This is a podcast, as me and you have discussed before doing all this.
Yeah.
It's about games.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna keep it that way, discussing with whoever, whatever. But it has to be games.
Right.
Not talking about books. Not talking about maybe movies.
Maybe.
Because Jason Bourne can beat John Wick's ass. So,
that's up for discussion.
Well,
but anyway.
no, there's no discussion there. Anyway, we're but we'll get off into our rants and do what we got to do. But I just want to keep it gaming, keep it tight. The audience is there because 2020 sucked and they've all been playing video games. What the hell else are they gonna do, right?
Right.
So
nothing else to do.
So we can talk all kinds of games, but while it's fresh on our mind, I think the first thing we need to talk about is VGAs.
Yes, most definitely.
The video game.
I got excited after watching it. I wanted to tell you yesterday when we were on the phone, because I was excited and I couldn't get it out, and I was like, oh, dude, but there was there was at least 6 games. I believe it was 6 games that I'm looking forward to over the next couple years because some of them ain't coming out until 2022.
Right.
One of the first ones that I saw that were in the awards was Perfect Dark. I was a huge fan on the Nintendo 64, of Perfect Dark. I played the mess out of it with my brother. Loved the game. And now that they're bringing it to the new consoles, man, I can't wait. Another one is Ark 2. I don't know if you saw that one, but Vin Diesel did.
I did.
Vin Diesel.
I did, and I was waiting for him to say one last ride. You know what I mean? Like, I was waiting for him to say that because I wanted him to get on a T-Rex and he'd be like, take my hand. Come on, man. But I honestly don't know how I feel about Vin Diesel. I know they announced an anime after that
series,
with Vin Diesel and Russell Crowe apparently, so that's gonna be really
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. I would like to watch that. I believe that was 2021. Not 100% sure about that though.
Yeah.
But another game that I saw, I'm not sure if you noticed, was Crimson Desert. I think that's what it was called, Crimson Desert. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. That shit was badass, dude.
That looked pretty good. That one I'm also, kind of curious to play. It was my first time ever seeing like some footage or even hearing about that one. Trying to think of another one.
I liked Hood. That looked pretty cool.
That was another one. That one
looked pretty cool. With the online, sort of looked like, it reminded me of Assassin's Creed Online.
Yeah. What was the Way Out? Do you remember was that the name of it, where you're breaking out of prison?
Yes, the one where we co-opted and you could do split screen.
I think that same company is coming out with another game. Did you see it when they?
I guess I didn't see that one. Do you know what it was called?
I don't. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that one. But they are coming out with another game. I can't remember the name of it. Mm-hmm. That's something that we'll probably have to end up looking up. Mm-hmm. But that was another co-op. You buy the game, your friend gets it for free, and it's a whole story, just like the other one. Trying to think of another one that was.
There was so many releases out, world premieres in a way.
Yeah.
Or they claimed world premiere. And I was sitting there thinking, because during the whole E3 moments, remember how every time they do something, it's like world premiere.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that. And it never happened. It just showed like that. And I'm like, this is lame. I want my whole,
You want your mind blown.
Yes. Yeah. Now it was like all of the premieres, I guess, in a way worked. Like I'm looking at the Crimson Desert right now, and it's like that was badass. But this also reminds me, in a way, like, I can't really tell what they're trying to go for here. Like, it's just all over the place. Like, it shows some combat, shows some walking around, shows some world building. But you know what it reminds me of, though? It reminds me of Shadow of Mordor, the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. In a way, it kind of like just the setting and see the way he's doing his bow and his shield and everything. It just reminds me of that.
I think right now they're just trying to show off what the game can do. I don't think they're really trying to show you the story right now, because I don't think this is more of like a trailer. I think this is more of like what the gameplay is. They are showing you a little bit, but it's not like giving you like a definition of what the game is about.
Yeah.
So I think that once it gets closer to release, then they'll start showing more of that.
Well, it looks really good. I would definitely pick it up, but it's just giving off those Shadow of Mordor vibes. The more I watch it, I'm just like, man, But it's pretty good. Well, it looks good. I'd play it, but I'm worried too that it may end up being an MMO.
It might end up being an MMO.
I'm worried because I feel like we need more single player games, because that's where Sony's been killing it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I think if Xbox had more series or single player games, that it would be better. Because I love Halo story or Gear story. I like the multiplayer in Halo. Of course, we play Call of Duty all the time together, or at least Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
But I'm just not a big fan of that online only bullcrap. I just don't like that shit. It doesn't work for me.
I do and I don't. And that's funny that you say that, because I've talked to people at work and and just out and about. There's some people that just play online. Mm-hmm. They don't want to play anything else. They don't, they won't even play the story, even in some of the Call of Duties. They just want to get on there and play online. They don't care about anything else. And that's not the only game that they're that way with.
Right.
But I think that's just, kind of what things have transitioned to. Don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of people out there that are, that love the single player, and then they enjoy the good stories, like myself, and we want to have those really good stories where we feel like we're being drawn into them, and we're a part of that story. Mm-hmm. But there's so many people nowadays that they're just focused on multiplayer, and it's easier to to pay attention to that, because you don't have to put forth the effort into making a story, because everything is so repetitive when it comes to a multiplayer online type of deal.
I guess I can see that, but at the same time, it's like, story can be more engaging too. Like,
oh no, yeah,
like
I'm right there with you.
Okay, so I jumped into it, like I had to, right?
Yeah.
Just on the discussion of like single player games, I jumped into Cyberpunk 2077 last night. I got the new Cyberpunk.
Oh dang, you didn't even tell me that.
Yeah, I got the new Cyberpunk, and I got it on Xbox One S, and it is a fucking mess. They were right if you're reading the reviews, it's fucking mess. They're right. The frame rate's terrible. The graphics are terrible on current gen. They've got a lot of work to do, right? But I am enjoying the game. But I find myself, while I don't like the online only aspect of it, and we have talked about the fact that, a lot of studios are putting out games that are unfinished, and they're like, well, we're gonna update it through the internet, eventually, right? And that's how I did what was it called, Breakpoint,
Right.
That's how I did Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and it's just like I've enjoyed the updates they had, and I find myself being like, okay, I'm gonna play it because they're gonna fix it.
Yeah,
and I'll be like, I won't play online only games, which is fucked up because I know those games are gonna constantly get better. Yeah. But I'll play a single player game even if it's fucked up, but I know they're gonna fix it. You know what I mean? Like.
It's kind of backwards.
Yeah, it is. It's ass backwards, and I can't help it. But it's just something I like the single player games, and that's the thing. Going in like primary console for me is Xbox primary console, but Sony kills them with the single player. Like Sony kills them with the exclusives. Like it's just Xbox. They've got a lot of studios that they've purchased. We've seen Bethesda.
As their new purchase.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is, going back to the VGAs as well, since we're on that topic.
I know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, that they're going with Skyrim to Game Pass.
Yeah.
And they've got the Yakuza games coming to Game Pass. They've got a few independent titles, I believe, if I watched that correctly. But Game Pass is worth it, that's...
Oh, yeah, it's definitely worth the money with the amount of games that you get from it, especially with, them adding the EA games to it now, and you got a lot of those first-person shooters now coming to, the Game Pass, and then you got your sports games from EA as well,
Yeah.
You can't, for the money, you can't pass that up,
No, I mean, I just hope that, we get to a point to where these AAA studios are making sure the games are ready when they launch them. But I had heard, whether it be online only or it be single player, whatever it is, they, especially with Cyberpunk, when you read more into it, because I've been following the fuck out of it. Like when they first announced it, which was 8 years ago, I think it was 2012, 2013, something like that they announced it. And I was like, I don't really care, because that's not my type of game. I didn't really care for that type of game. So I was like, don't care, whatever, Then they started to hype it up a few years later, and they were like, it's coming soon. I'm like, well, maybe this could be the game to get me into that genre. So I'm like, okay, I got a little bit of hype here. Let's make it happen. And they're like, no, wait, it's delayed for another 25 years, right?
Right.
So, eventually it gets ready to come out. It was supposed to come out, I think, in November, a week after the next generation launch, right?
Yeah.
They were like, well, it's coming out in November, and then I want to say a week or so before November even got here, it was like, no, we're not launching it then. It's not ready. And a lot of the rumors were going around were that the Xbox One and the PS4 version just wasn't working. They just couldn't get it to work.
Right.
And so they were like, well, we'll put it back to December the 10th. So they put it back to December the 10th, and I got it yesterday. I actually picked it up last night. And I'd been reading the reviews, and the reviews were saying, oh, the frame rate is atrocious, the graphics are bad. And I'm like, I'm going to power through this shit because I'm a firm believer. Whether it be Ubisoft, CD Projekt Red, they're going to fix it because I believe they fixed Ghost Recon Breakpoint. We'll come back to that.
No.
We'll come back to that. But as far as Cyberpunk goes, I feel like they will fix it. And the thing is it's rough. Right now, it's really fucking rough. But they were saying when they did the reviews, when they sent out the early codes, they were like, you can only stream B footage or, which is like footage that CD Projekt Red sent them.
Yeah.
And it was like, you can only use that. And then they were like, but you can only, review the PC version. You can't review the console versions, right? But they knew that the console versions weren't working correctly. They wanted the best version of their game to be reviewed.
Right.
That's what that was. So I didn't think about that, right? So then when all of the reviews started coming out for everything else, they were like, oh, well, the Xbox One and PS4, they got some issues,
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So, but I picked it up and I tried it, and it is fucking rough. Like, it is terrible. I mean, I have to force myself to get through this, right?
Yeah.
But I'm determined, because you know how I am. I hardly ever finish games. I get into them, do a half of it, and then I go back to doing something else.
Yeah, every day.
So this is the game that I'm going to finish. Whether it's unfinished or not, CD Projekt Red is going to fix this thing, and I'm going to finish it, right? That's the way I feel. But going back to Breakpoint.
Now, yeah, that you already know how I feel. We've talked about this multiple times.
Well, go ahead to you. Before we go back to the VGAs, go ahead with your Breakpoint thing.
All right, so you already know that me and you were already looking forward to the Breakpoint on its release date, last year on October, 4th or 5th or something like that?
I want to say 5th because we went to see Joker that night, came back and played Breakpoint.
All right. So, once we got into it, it was not a bad game. You already know how I feel about loot shooters. I do not care for the system. Mm-hmm. Didn't care for the Division.
Right.
Not a big fan of Destiny. I will play it, but not a huge fan.
Right.
So, the game itself was not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The story was that was the terrible part for me. Couldn't follow it. Maybe just because I spent so much time, exploring, maybe I forgot some of the story or whatnot. But it was just hard to follow. Just some of the mechanics in the game. There was a lot of screen tearing, and it got a little worse actually after some of the updates. So, what we were talking about before was, them fixing the games before they released them. If they would have pushed it back another 6 months, and actually spent the time to focus on, fixing the game, I think it would have been better off. And I think their players, their community would have had a better response to the game than they did. Yes, now they have fixed and made things better, in the game.
Have you played it recently?
Not too recently, but I know that from our discussions about them adding the new night mode, or where you have to use your night vision.
Right.
But other than that, I haven't gone back and played here recently. Been playing Watch Dogs Legion, and then Warzone. Kind of been heavy on that.
Yeah,
that's more than playing. More than anything else
well,
right
as far as Breakpoint goes, it was just for me. I had so much hype for that game. I refused to put it down. I've got 200 and almost 300 hours into that game.
Yeah,
this
is ridiculous.
Yeah, so whether it was looting and or it's what it is now, because what it is now is just, in my opinion, this is my opinion going forward for Breakpoint. I believe it's better than Wildlands. I'm down. Let's do this.
You know what? I can't say anything. Maybe it is because I haven't played the new update. But, they did the same thing with Wildlands. It took all the way until they were about to start coming out with Breakpoint, like a year out from Breakpoint. Before it was like, okay, this is the game it should have been all along. Mm-hmm. Breakpoint, a year later now, a year and a couple months. Now it's to the point where it should have been on release. So that kind of tells you, okay, maybe we need to step back as a company and think about, okay, maybe if we take a little more time and get people to do, you know, a little bit longer beta, you know, maybe we need to fix this, maybe we need to do this, maybe we need to do that, whatever it may be, you know, that's going on with your game. Fix the bugs, fix the glitches, you know, fix, you know, the screen tearing, fix, you know, whatever problems that the game may be having. Take that time and make that game better.
Well, from what I've played, it's, you know, 100 times better in my opinion. But like, I've always preferred Breakpoint over Wildlands, in my opinion. And the reason that is one word. Well, I wouldn't even say it one word, but 2 words. Prone camo. Like, that's the greatest thing Ghost Recon's ever done. When I can cover myself in mud and folks don't see me coming and I can fuck them, oh yeah. That's your ass.
You know, but the only time I ever used prone camo was when that drone was coming over or helicopters were coming over. That's the only time I ever used it.
Oh, see, I used it all the time. Like, what I would do is I would like sneak into a base, for instance, right? And they would catch me doing something I shouldn't be doing. You know? So they'd catch me doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I'd take off running back out the gates. And I would lay down, and I'd go pro camo while they were coming to inspect the area. I was taking them out one by one. Waiting, you know, like the furthest one, I'd take him out. Then the second furthest one, take him out, you know. And then they come and they're like, well, where's it coming from? Well, you know, I'm covered in mud. You can't see me. Yeah. But in Wildlands, you could, because I had to sit on top of the mud. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got what you're saying. But, you know, maybe it's because of the game mechanics kind of changed. Because didn't they change from where the whole base was alerted from one person going down?
Yeah, I mean, because in Wildlands, from what I remember, it was pretty much, you know, every time you got caught, everybody knew where you were at all times. And in Breakpoint, it's similar, but they have like levels. So it's like, you know, you shoot a shot. If somebody hears the shot, that one person hears the shot. But then if he investigates, all of a sudden everybody's alerted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's similar, but it's not, you know, it's a little more, in my opinion, forgiving. But, you know, I prefer Breakpoint over Wildlands. Like, that's the way. And now that they've opened up Golem Island, you can't say that Wildlands is better, because it's not. Like, I don't believe any Ghost Recon game is better than. Let's do this. Let's get into this, because Ghost Recon Breakpoint, best Ghost Recon game ever made.
Well, we're gonna have to pick this up in the next episode, because all right, so what I'm gonna have to do between now and then is go and play Breakpoint now, because like I said, I haven't played since the recent update. Because some things changed. I need to see what you're talking about. I haven't been on Golem Island since, you know, we tried to do the
raid.
Yeah, so I need to go back and do that, and then we'll have that discussion on the next podcast.
I agree. But going back to the VGAs, as far as the announcements goes, now the one thing I will say too is in the VGAs, like, I just don't know if I agree with The Last of Us Part 2 winning every fucking thing.
It wasn't them winning everything, but it was them in Among Us. Those two won a good bit of the awards.
I haven't played Among Us. I've heard you talk about it a little bit, and I want to try it out. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, honestly, and I want to try it out, but I haven't tried it out. But I have played The Last of Us Part 2.
Right.
And, you know, I came up to you, and this was fairly early on in my playthrough, saying that, you know, I am a firm believer that Spec Ops: The Line has the greatest story of any video game ever made. And I've told you that I will go on record stating that, because that is how I believe. And then I came up to you and said, I think that belongs to The Last of Us now, because of Part 2 and how they did certain things. I'm not going to spoil anything, but how they did certain things, right?
Right.
But then I played the whole game.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, that really don't work for me, right? And while I believe I guess you would call it like art direction, graphics, all of that, you know, is working for them.
Right.
The voice acting is top notch, of course, but that's in both games.
Right.
You know, the story lacked so hard after that first part.
In The Last of Us Part 2?
Yes, it lacked so hard after that first part that I was like,
all right, so would you say the first one was better than the second?
Story-wise, yes.
Okay.
First part of the story in part 2 was great.
Okay.
But the latter half going into the rest of it was just, I was like, no, don't do this. So I feel like when they won all of that stuff at the VGAs, I just feel like they were giving it to them because Naughty Dog made it. Because, it sold millions of copies and everything. And I think there was one. Now, don't quote me on this. And I'm trying to look it up, but my damn computer's acting crazy. But I think there was one that I want to say voice. I believe it was voice acting that had like Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I have played and beaten.
You actually finished that one?
I finished that one. Yes.
So you did finish?
Yes, I did finish that one. So I Miles Morales. Now I played it on PS4 because as a disclaimer, in a way, we do not have the new next gen console. So
right.
Fighting scalpers, I hate them.
Yeah,
I hate everything about them. But fighting scalpers and then trying to find it in stores is just insane, especially with our work schedule and everything. So it's
most definitely.
But I did play it on PS4 and it was fantastic on PS4. You're not missing much. I'm sure maybe the 60 frames. I know there's a performance mode and then there's a graphics mode on PS5. Right. So you're not really missing much on PS4, in my opinion. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. But in the VGAs, there was like Miles Morales was part, and I'm telling you, dude, like I love the voice acting, like the story and the acting in that game.
Yeah.
Like it's just we'll just go the voice acting and the acting in general in that game was top notch, dude. I feel like it was better than some of the stuff in The Last of Us Part 2. And The Last of Us Part 2 was really good when it comes to voice acting and the scenes that they put in and everything, but the voice acting in Spider-Man Miles Morales, like he gave a lot. He gave a lot, and it showed, and it made me feel a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was really attached to that character, and I was surprised at how attached I was to that character. And I honestly believe it's better than Spider-Man 2018.
Yeah. I haven't played the new one. I did play the 18. That is something I do need to pick up. But like, there's just so many games coming out right now. I'm having a hard time keeping up, like you said, with our work schedules and everything that we got going on. Mm-hmm. I still need to play Valhalla. I know that you have been playing that one. I doubt you finished it.
No, Valhalla, no, I have not finished it.
I need to pick that one up, and I need to do that. I might go and try to get that today. So that might be in the plans for this afternoon. Right. And maybe for the rest of the weekend. And then Miles Morales, I do want to play that. But I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to get that one this weekend as well. Cyberpunk, I was not hyped for that one. So I probably will not be picking that up until the beginning of the year.
I mean, you're not missing anything as far as like the bugs and the graphics and everything goes. Once they update it, I would recommend picking it up, because I'll say this, like I'm having a blast fucking playing it, and that's not my type of game. Like I don't play those types of games, those RPGs, first person. Like I hate that shit. Yep. But this one right here is actually getting me into it.
Really?
Like I really enjoyed this. Okay. So I plan on powering through this and getting this done.
Okay, all right. So for your recommendation, would you suggest for me to get Valhalla or Cyberpunk?
Valhalla. And the only reason I say that is because the Cyberpunk needs to be fixed. Okay. I mean, it has to be fixed. It's not worth the $60 right now. I spent, I went ahead and got it, and it works, but it's just not. It's not perfect. Like I said, it's just not. It's not what it needs to be. And I know they have a hot fix right now for as of yesterday, which was the 10th, I believe. 11th. So as of yesterday, I know they had a hot fix for certain bugs, and I know for the PS4. I know it was mainly for the PS4, but they haven't released it yet for the Xbox One, and that's where I bought it, was the Xbox One.
Okay.
So it's not perfect. It's not unplayable by any means. So I want people to understand this. There's a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people reviewing this game that are saying that it's unplayable because of the frame rates. But if you're not used to 60 frames per second if you're playing on next gen console or you're playing on PC. Because you can get on PC, you can get 60 frames, or you can get whatever, like godlike frames. We don't get that, right? We're console gamers,
right?
So if you're not used to that, it is definitely a playable game. It is by no means unplayable, but it is fuzzy,
right?
In a word, it's just you can tell that it was not finished. If it would have been delayed maybe a little bit longer, maybe they would have fixed it. I don't know. What I feel like is the investors were like, no, we have to put this game out. We told them that it was coming out. It's coming out. Next gen's out. It'll work good on next gen. We don't care about Xbox One. We can patch that later. We can patch Xbox One. We can patch PS4. But we know it'll work on next gen because that's what we built it for. We built it for the CPU because they built it for a PC. Right. So they know it'll work on that. So they were like, we'll just do the reviews that way. So but once it gets updated, I would recommend picking it up because it is fun. Like, I have enjoyed it a lot.
I'll tell you what, you keep me up to date. Now, I keep up to date here recently, more so of the news that's coming out. But since you're playing it, let me know once it gets to the point where it's like more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Then I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
But then for now, I'm just gonna go get Valhalla.
Valhalla, you're not going to go wrong there because it's really good on last gen. Whether you're playing on next gen or last gen, like I said, I can't speak for next gen. I have seen gameplay and stuff like that, and honestly, I'm watching on a cell phone screen, so they can get up to like 720p or maybe 380p. I don't know, whatever it is.
You can get up to 720.
Yeah,
I know that.
So it's not, I can't see the 4K. I can't see the graphical difference, but I will say, on my TV, it looks really good on Xbox One S. It looks, with the HDR enabled and everything, it looks really good, and it plays good. The story's good. There's one character in there I think you're gonna like. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's one character in there. Because I just started pounding the story, and there's one character in there I think you're gonna end up liking. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend Cyberpunk to everybody. If you're the type that's like, oh yeah, they're gonna end up fixing it, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up. Then pick it up because it is fun.
Right.
But if you don't want to wait on updates, and I know you with your internet,
oh boy, we didn't even get off on that.
Your internet crutch right now. I know, for something like that, no, I wouldn't recommend it. But I would recommend it for those that are willing to wait for it to get fixed or willing to play through what is there right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it because it's not unplayable. It is fun to play. Valhalla is fun, but. Before, I know we've been straying here, but before, anything else you need to say about the VGAs before we move on?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Like, I can't think of, I'm wanting to say that there's at least one or two more games, but I have to go back and look at them again to see what other games there was. Because I'm wanting to say there was at least two more that I was excited for, but I just can't remember which ones they were. The main ones were already mentioned, because you already know I was a fan of Ark. But so seeing in a second one and an animated series come out, I'm pretty happy about that. I was actually excited. But one of the things that I got excited for that I wasn't expecting to get excited for was Perfect Dark. I know we've already talked about it.
Oh man, yeah, the Initiative. But the Initiative is one of the studios that I was pretty excited about. Like the studio that they put all of their chips in. Like Microsoft was like, make us a good game because we need it. Spider-Man's out. What are we gonna do? Right? They were like, well, let's put out Superman. And he was like, no, we're not going to do that because, that's gimmicky. Let's do Perfect Dark. They were like, well, we already made that years ago. Not as good as we're going to do it now.
Right.
And they're like, oh, that must be your Initiative. Yeah. So Phil Spencer was like, we're going to call you the Initiative. But no, yeah, I mean, it does look good. It does look good. I'm going to be honest, I never played Perfect Dark.
You've never played any of them?
No, I've never played Perfect Dark, so it does look interesting. I may pick it up.
On the 64? You never played? Oh,
I played Gold. I was the one playing GoldenEye and Blitz.
I played GoldenEye and I played Blitz and I played World Is Not Enough Super Smash Brothers. That was another one.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Yes.
And if you already know me, like both of us were Super Smash Brothers, big fans. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it was the trailer that got me.
Oh, the Sephiroth?
Dude.
Yes, the Sephiroth. Yes, everybody was excited about Sephiroth. And, but see...
Kind of mixing it with Final Fantasy?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Not a Final Fantasy fan.
Really?
Not a Final Fantasy
I haven't
fan.
played any of the reason that, like...
I know some of the characters. I know Cloud.
Right.
You know, I knew Cloud. I know Sora, I believe her name. That's her name?
No, I don't. I can't say.
Whatever her name is, you know, I know some of them, and I know Sephiroth, but I didn't know what he was about. You know, I don't know what he was about. But when they showed him, I know a lot of people were excited. Like I saw, because I was watching the VGAs on YouTube, and I saw
the chat.
Yeah, and everybody blew up.
It lit up, dude.
I'm like, you know, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I'm sort of sitting there in the corner like, Sephiroth, yay. You know? And everybody is like, whoa.
Dude, I was excited. I was excited when I saw it, man. But not only that, because they also brought him to Super Smash Brothers, just a brawl game to begin with. And, it's just a fun, family game.
Yeah.
That you can play with anybody.
Well, maybe I'll pick him up. I know I need to pick up some of the other characters, because that's one thing, though, because the one I was buying all the characters for was Dragon Ball FighterZ. I bought all the characters for that.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought all the characters for Smash Brothers. I need to, because we haven't played it in a while.
From what I was hearing, Dragon Ball Z Fighters is like a sleeper game. Like a lot of people are sleeping on that game. They say that it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I might even have to pick that up, because I haven't even played it. So, and you even told me
man, I love
numerous times.
I love it.
To play it.
Me and my daughter play it. She thinks she can beat me. Between me and you, though, she has beat me one time, and it was legit. I was not letting her, but we're not gonna go there, because I am beast at that game.
Not that day.
So, but I mean, other than that, we, as far as the VGAs go, I just don't know if I agree with The Last of Us Part 2 winning as much as it did. I liked some of the speeches that some of them folks gave. Now, did you see the speech that the guy from, what was it? What's that one, the space game?
Oh, dude, did you see Mass Effect? I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, but hold on. I'm excited. I'm excited, because that was the one that I forgot.
I was there with you. No, I am excited about Mass Effect 2, but I'm talking about that one where you build shit like it's Minecraft in space. What's it called? Why can't I remember? No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Did you see the speech that guy gave? He was taking a sip of his drink, and he was like, oh, we won. He was like, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, normally we lose. That's pretty much what he said. I thought that shit was great. Because he was not ready for that. But the Mass Effect, I did see that. And that is badass.
I don't know why that slipped my mind. All right. So, Mass Effect, you already know the first three were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Andromeda, it kind of fell off a little bit. Still played all the way through it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did the first three.
Right.
But I'm excited to see what they do with this next one. Because we thought that I did anyway. I thought that it was just going to be remastered from the first three to put on the new console.
Yeah.
It's not the case. Not from what they're showing from, the video.
Well, I know that the trilogy is coming to Xbox One and PS4. I know that that's coming.
Yeah, but the way that they did this is not. It's not a remastered version. They're not talking about the remastered. They're talking about a whole new game.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah, and I'm pretty excited for that. But I honestly, as far as the VGAs go, I feel like the biggest or one of the best announcements there was Crimson Desert. I just feel like that one was one of the better ones. The one that's really stuck in my mind. That and Hood. For some reason, those two really stuck.
I don't know what it is. I haven't really played a whole lot of those, games that go back to that era, of time, or even to that, with dragons and things like that. I haven't played a whole lot of that, but I don't know what it was about it. Maybe it was what really caught my eye was when the dragons were flying through the air. I think it was in Crimson Desert.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to say it was that one. I'm not 100% sure because we watched so many,
I think, I think you're right. I think it was that one. Yeah.
But I think it was just the air combat, with the dragons. It was just a whole new take for me anyway. Because I do like the fighter pilot type of games, like the Ace Combats and things like that. I do like playing those. So having a dragon, and fucking fire breathing dragon. I mean, who doesn't fucking like a fire breathing dragon? Right?
I do.
Right. So I was like, and I get to fly this, and it's doing all these little, spins and things in the air, and you're fighting other people, like, fun, right?
Yeah.
So
of course it is. I'm excited for that one. I may pick that one up, but like I said, first we got to find us a damn new Xbox and a PlayStation 5 with all these scalpers out here fucking shit up, talking about we're sorry, we can get them and you can't, but we're gonna sell them to you either way. I'm not paying $3,000 for a PS5. It's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not even gonna pay $1,000 for that. I'm not even gonna pay $800. Like I'm
paying store price.
Right.
That's what I'm paying.
Yeah,
okay, no more, no less.
Right.
You ask $500, that's what I'm paying. You ask $300, that's what I'm paying. You ask $400, that's what I'm paying. Right? I'm not paying $3,000. I ain't paying $2,000. You see what I'm saying?
No,
I'm not gonna do that. Like that's insane. We got to get us a new console. Either that or we got to build us a PC. One of them.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was looking on YouTube today. It was actually in my feed, and so in this PC, they were showing how to build one that is like a Xbox Series X, eater. I think that's how he worded it anyway. But they're saying like $300. You can build a PC. I don't know how true it is. I watched a little bit of the video. Really need to go back and watch it. But honestly, that's what I'm thinking about doing is going the PC route. Haven't played one before or played on one before. For gaming purposes. So maybe here in the future, being able to build one will be more beneficial. So I got to look at how much that's going to end up running because I know that the graphics card, especially the new one that came out, high as hell. Don't know how much, money is going to end up, I'm going to have to put into, getting this PC. So, but either way, and want to get into the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5, hopefully here soon. We're not going to have to worry too much about, these scalpers anymore, using these bots to bomb up, but
yeah, I'm tired of that shit myself. I've had a total of 3 of them things in my cart. And then when I went to hit buy, they were like, "Oh, it's sold out." What?
Yeah.
What? It's in my cart.
I already told you from the beginning, like right now I'm going to wait just because.
Yeah, well, I've decided at this point too, I'm going to wait until probably the the supply meets the demand.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's really ridiculous, dude, trying to fight these folks. Now, if I'm in Walmart or I'm in GameStop and I have to go in there and looking at games and everything, like, hey, we got an Xbox, Series X or S or a PS5. Right. Do you want it? I'm going to be like, there's not even going to be hesitation. It's going to be like, fuck yes.
Right.
And he's going to be like, well, okay. And I'm going to be like, don't okay me. I want it rung up right that second. Don't even ask me. Just ring it up and be like, you want this PS5? Yeah, I'm taking your card. Okay? But as far as online, no. I'm going to wait. Like, if I don't see it while I'm out, I'm just not going to pick it up until the supply meets the demand.
Yeah, I'm not about to try to, just keep fighting to be able to get one. So right now, just going to keep playing what I got. It's working just fine. But I still am looking forward to getting one, whether it's the S or the X.
Oh, yeah. I honestly, and people are like, well, S is good for, your kids. They're good for, a gift or whatever, whatever the bullshit they want to say. I don't care what the game looks like. If the game runs in 1080p and it looks good on my TV and it's running at 60 frames per second and it's running, all of the good load times and shit, or the faster load times.
Right.
That's what I want. I want the system performance. I don't care about graphics. We've ascended graphics. Just like me and you have ascended friendship. We have ascended graphics. You understand?
Nah, I got it.
It's insane. I hate hearing, if you're about graphics, you should get Series X. No, I don't want Series X. It's $300 for me to get a Series S.
Yeah.
$300. I can go get the same load times that the Series X gets. Maybe I don't get all of the benefits from the backwards compatibility stuff. I don't need extra graphics on my backwards compatibility games. I know what I'm jumping into when I got it anyway. Right? I just want the better load times. So fuck your X. I want your S because it's $300.
Right. More affordable.
Exactly.
Not everybody can afford, that X. And, really, I want either one. Whichever one I can get, I'm not going to be complaining about.
Well, I agree. Now, if I go up to GameStop and I'm like, I want a Series S, and they're like, we ain't got one, we got an X, I'm going to be like, okay, ring me up for $500. Right?
Yeah, because they have it right
exactly.
now. But now give it when, like you said, supply meets demand, and they're both there, I'm probably going to go with the S.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with S. It's just more convenient. And then since me and you have ascended friendship, right? You can come over here and and update whatever you need to update.
Oh yeah.
So it's no big deal. Plus, half of my library personally is digital.
Right.
So over half of mine. Right. Is digital. So what would I need a disk drive for? I don't need. And most of the time you look at it, it's like the disk drive's not even working. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me. I even switch because I love Breakpoint so much because it's the greatest game ever made.
Oh,
right?
No, that's a stretch.
Because it's the greatest game ever made,
bro. That's a stretch.
I have effectively taken and made it digital. I bought it hard copy. We bought it the same day together. We went to GameStop together and bought it. Right? No, I'm sorry. I went with Cracker Jack and bought that motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Same day.
That's right.
Day it came out, you went and bought it. We met up at the house and played it together. I bought it hard copy, but I was like, this is the greatest game ever made. I got to switch it to digital because what if I go to Series S, right?
Yeah.
So I switched it to digital. So now that game will go with me wherever I want to go.
The worst game ever made?
No, the greatest game ever made. Okay,
that's a stretch.
Ubisoft stuck with it.
They did stick with it, just like they stuck with Wildlands, and they made it better than what it originally was. But saying it is the best game, that's a stretch.
Nah.
Personal opinion, though.
Well, that's the thing. Everything in this podcast is going to be personal opinion. Whether whether they like it or not, I don't give a shit because the greatest game ever made is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I don't give a shit. Because...
No. Okay, so you're saying... No. Hold up. So you're saying that Ghost Recon Breakpoint is better than Halo?
See, now you want to go and put words in my mouth. Now, nobody ever said that. I just said greatest game, right?
No. You said the greatest game ever.
But Halo Infinite isn't out yet.
But Halo. We're talking about the whole series of Halo. All right, -5.
Yeah, -5. 5 was terrible.
-5. But Halo. So you're saying Halo is not as good as Ghost Recon Breakpoint? Is that what you're saying? And I know how big of a fan you are. Now, if you say yes...
No. Reach, 1, 2, and 3. All better than Breakpoint. 4 and 5? Breakpoint's better.
All right, I have to agree. Now, we did play the shit.
Out of 4, but online because it played like Call of Duty. Let's not lie. Let's not front that shit. We played that shit because it came out like Call of Duty. It was time spent, not like every other Halo game, which was like you got to be better. Right. So once you did good in one match, you gained a rank. If you did bad, you could lose a rank. Yeah. But in Halo 4, it's like if we put 12 hours into this shit, we can at least get one level. Right?
Yeah, it was rough. Like the leveling system.
I maxed it out. I don't know if you did, but I maxed it out on 360. On 360, I went. What was it? 128, 129. I maxed it out. I was so excited. I changed my Spartan Gold. He was like, "Yeah, what's up?"
All right. So on that front, I want to talk about the Halo Infinite. since you brought it up.
Right.
The news. What have you heard about Halo Infinite here recently?
Well,
I've read a few things, but I want to hear it from you.
Well, there's a bunch of things. We know the delay, of course. Well, the overall delay.
Right.
So from it being a Xbox Series X launch title to moving into 2021, right. Because people didn't really care for how it looked, which I don't agree with that either. Because I don't really care. If the game plays good, I don't care how it looks, because Halo was never meant to be a graphical powerhouse. That just is not what it was. It was Halo 3, yeah, it looked good. But Halo 2, in its own right, looked good too. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like I loved the way the game played. And honestly, it wasn't even about gameplay for me. In the whole grand scheme of things, it was about the story. Intergalactic story. Like, hey, Master Chief is the baddest motherfucking. Like, bring Kratos on. We can fuck him up. Okay, you understand? Yeah. Like that beats gods all day. Master Chief, John 117 can beat Kratos. Okay, understand that. But going from the delay for Series X into the 2021 year, that was rough, because I was looking forward to that. That was the whole reason I wanted to buy an Xbox. You know that. We talked about that 100 times. And that was the whole reason I wanted to get the new Xboxes for Halo Infinite. And the best place to play it, was the next gen.
Right.
So going into the next year, they were talking about, we got, right here close to the end of the year, they were like, well, we don't have a lot of news per se, but, we'd rather show you than tell you.
Right.
Is pretty much what they were saying. And they were like, but it's not ready yet. So we don't want to show you something that we can't show you. And I was like, well, we need to see something. Right. And then eventually, we see all this stuff now, which I'm looking at now. And, they talk about the new screenshots. The one thing that was cool was the holographic image of like the sniper rifle and one of the rocket launchers, which was really cool because you don't know what kind of attachments maybe you can put on that. Like customization, I believe, is going to be key in Halo Infinite.
From what I was reading, they were saying that customization was going to be, key in this. So you're going to be able to customize more of your Spartan. I think you're going to be able to customize more of your weapons here. And one of the things that I think I like the most that I read that was put out by, 343 was the fact that, you're not going to have to pay. There's no extra money in this. You're not going to pay to get better weapons or better loot or anything like that. Right. I mean, it's going to be even across the board, and then you unlock things as you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the things that I liked the most, because that was in 5. I hated it. Like the cards that you got. Like I can't just go over here and jump in a damn Warhawk. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or have one that has a rail gun. Why not? Like 4, I could jump in one at any time.
That's how
that bitch just spawns
eventually, in. Eventually, we're going to have to upload some videos on YouTube or something about how we did shit,
Dude, the one with the rockets on the back?
Yes.
That has to be on there.
Yes.
So, anyway, going back to, to Infinite, I think that the thing that I really like that they did, I'm glad they pushed it back to get everything to where it needs to be. I'm glad that they did that because, like we've already been talking about, games not being complete when they're being put out.
Yeah.
So, this being an exclusive for Microsoft, this needs to be right. It needs to be correct. They need to do the best that they can do before it launches.
That's why I like the delay too, is because I feel like this is a game, or this Halo game is something 343 needs to get right. They have to get it right. And with it being now what they say is a platform in a way for Halo. So now it's going to be a 10-year cycle for them. So from 2021 to 2031 is going to be all kinds of content for Halo Infinite. Here's the question I have. Okay, let's just say in an imperfect world, which it already is because 2020 sucked ass.
Right.
So if 2020 describes the 20s per se.
Right.
You know, in a way, we're all fucked. But either way, let's just say we can't get our hands on the new Xbox, right? And we're stuck with our Xbox Ones. You know, I know you have the base Xbox One. I have the One S. And
well, I'm gonna go ahead and interject there. If it continues where I can't get the Series X, I'm going to get the X.
Yeah, the One X. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I agree. I'd probably move up to that point too. And those are even hard to find too. Speaking on that,
you know, right now anyway.
But the One S is easier to find, so you can always upgrade to that.
Yeah.
But either way, it's just if we can't upgrade to the next generation of system. And we know now because Bonnie Ross, which is one of the heads of 343,
right,
he came out and said, well, there's a anniversary coming up for, you know, a particular game, in so many words is what she put. But she was talking about Halo 1 because Halo 1 came out 2001.
Yeah, November
15th, 2001.
And that was one of the things I was wanting to mention is just the anniversary date. You know, and then the new one, you know, Infinite being released on that anniversary date. So that's something that I wanted to mention because that right there just kind of signifies that what 2 decades, man. So, you know, to me that was amazing. But you know, also just being released on that same day the original, you know, was released. It's just kind of, and I guess, nostalgic in a way.
Yeah, well, you know, Bonnie Ross was in so many words. Was like, yeah, I'm gonna release it, or we're gonna release it, pretty much, you know, on November the 15th, 2021, and she was pretty much guaranteeing that was gonna be the release date of it, you know, of it all, but. I think it would be really fucking interesting to see something like that. Like, on November the 15th, we get Halo Infinite. But it has to be good. It has to be good. There's no other way that this is going to work out for 343. It has to be good. They've already delayed it. And now we know it's going to be fall 2021, November the 15th, like I said. This is what everybody's speculating. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that it's going to be November the 15th. I'm not going to be the one here sitting here saying that it's going to be November the 15th. This is just an indication, right? She indicated that, you know, there's something coming up. There's an anniversary coming up. We're going to, you know, figure this out. But I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, it's coming out November the 15th. But 343 has to get this right. They really have no choice when it comes to this. But as far as what they have shown off so far, like after the gameplay from last year, or well, from this
earlier this year.
Yeah, earlier this year. It looks significantly better. I'm all about customization. I've always believed that customization should have been more integral into Halo than it has ever been. Well, I liked Halo Reach's customization. I just didn't like their leveling system. It took forever. It took 3 days to level up. I hated that.
Right.
Like, give us, you know, it's fine if it takes a couple hours. That's cool. I can spend a couple hours in Halo Infinite. That's fine. But circling back to the 2021 release date, November the 15th, if that is indeed the release date. We already know it's going to be fall. What does that mean? Let's say in a perfect world, or not in a perfect world, but in an imperfect world, we cannot get us a new Xbox. Okay. What does that mean for Xbox One? Well, you see what I'm saying?
I do.
Because they had said 1 year they were going to support Xbox One for 1 year after the release of the Series X and the Series S.
Right.
So if it comes out at the end of the year in 2021, does that mean we get all of the DLC? Does that mean we get all of the story content, you know, from 2021 to 2031? Does the Xbox One get updated? Well, I had a conversation about this with a guy at work, Cracker Jack to be specific. But I had a conversation with him, and I was like, "Well, you know what?
I got to think. The more I talked about it, the more I was like, well, Game Pass.
Right.
Game Pass is going to be on everything. Game Pass is going to be on your phone. It's going to be on your tablet. Eventually, it'll probably be on your PC. It's going to be on everything.
You know, have you heard that they're talking about putting it on your TV? You know, like how we have Roku and things like that.
The dongle.
Yeah.
And we'll circle back to that. But yeah, I have heard that. But Game Pass is going to be on everything that you own pretty much.
Right.
So you're going to be able to play Halo Infinite on day one on Game Pass. But if you still have just an Xbox One, let's say you got the Xbox One S digital only version, right?
Right.
You can play the Game Pass version of Halo Infinite. But if it's not up to date, those people aren't going to be getting the same content that the Series S and Series X are getting.
Right.
So do you keep supporting that, or do you eventually make it an actual next-gen console or an actual next-gen game? Because if you don't, Halo Infinite will never be the next-gen game. The next-gen, you know what I mean? Like the epitome of Halo. It will never be that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So what do you do? And if we don't upgrade, what does that mean for us?